On this episode, I'm going to be showing you the most common DIY mistakes when wiring receptacles, or what you call outlets. So stay tuned. The official term for this is receptacle, but the street name that I like to use is outlets. So when I say outlets, that's what I mean. The first one that I want to point out is using cheap outlets, just like what you see on this one. This one was about right now around 83 cents on Lowe's. This is the most common one that people buy. Say you're renovating and you just want to go and replace everything with brand new, so they go and end up and replacing everything with this cheap style. If you just moved into a brand new home, you're probably going to see this commonly installed. If you look closely onto these outlets, you can see that they're not well built. They're kind of cheaply and fastly made. Look how the blue just kind of overlaps the white plastic, and they just seems very cheap and flimsy. But if you go to the commercial grade version, you can see how much beefier it looks. They're a lot thicker, better built. They don't have that blue overlap going on. And weight size, you can tell that this is built as a tank. This really nice support bar at the back. So overall, commercial is gonna last longer, it's gonna work better, and overall just spending a little bit more on these is definitely a great way to go, especially if you're just a DIYer and you want to replace one of these broken ones. On this video, I'm going to go use the residential mostly for the example. Let's put that aside. Another common DIYer mistake is using these holes at the back. Now if you're unfamiliar with these are called speed wiring holes, backstab, whichever you want to call it. Now I don't like using these personally, even though they are built by the manufacturer and there's no code violation on this, but I highly recommend not using them because I've had many instances where I took out an outlet or a switch. These were inserted and I popped it out. The wire just came out just like that. They're not very reliable. Sometimes just a few wiggle just like that and they will pretty much come out. They're not that strong on holding the wire. And this one's an example where a remnant was actually left there. That's gonna create a spark. They're a one-time use only. So that means that right when you put this in through there, that's it. You can't reuse them anymore. Another option that with the commercial grade right here, and don't get that confused, is using the back wire system. If you want to just use the shepherd's hook version, the old standard style, like this one, you can use this strip gauge and use that to wire through here on the hook, or you can just use the strip gauge on this one for the back wiring, and that's what's used to back wire here. You can tighten that up like so, and as you can see, no matter how hard you twist it or pull onto it, it's better and it's a lot stronger on holding this wire rather than using the backstab onto the cheap residential version. So if you are going to be using the residential version, my high recommendation is to just use the shepherd's hook and wire it onto the screw terminals. So friends, if you're finding this video helpful so far, I will greatly appreciate it, friends, if you hit that like button, because that will definitely help spread this video out to help other people. So thank you so much. Let's get back to the video. Another common DIY mistake is overstripping or understripping a wire to connect to the outlet. Now let's start with the understripped wire. Insulation is really close to the bend. Wire this onto there. You can see when you tighten this up, the insulation gets pinched onto the screw terminal. There's a little bit of bulging going out of there when you try to tighten it. Very low connectivity on there from the hot or neutral going to the outlets. Overstripping a wire is another issue. For the overstripping version, you can see that there's no bulging at the sides when you try to tighten this terminal. But the problem with this is there you have extra wires that are coming out that you don't really need, and other conductors could accidentally touch these and could probably cause a spark. So you definitely don't want to overstrip it and have excess like there. If you don't know how long you should strip the wire, just refer to the back of the receptacle. Each receptacle company or outlet company is different, but they're all pretty much the same. They have a little strip gauge at the back. You know that you actually cut the right size. So I made the shepherd's hook. Go tighten this down and see what it looks like now. Now you have no bulge at the top. Everything is nice and snugged in there. Very minimal showing over here. It's kind of like leveled up to where the blue is, but this is definitely what it should look like. and it looks really, really good. So another common DIY mistake is inserting this wire onto the terminal incorrectly, and that is going on a counterclockwise direction. I went towards going this way when the screw tightening direction goes onto a clockwise position. You're gonna get a little pop on the end right there, a little bulging at the top, because once you start tightening this, this wire tends to want to come out because it's going against it. So the way to correct this is just simply just go on a clockwise position, or the same direction the screw terminal is going into. If you go to the right direction like so, and you actually start tightening this right here, you're gonna see that the more you tighten this, the more it's gonna get fed into that terminal, and it's gonna go and tighten really, really well. So look at that. Always go in a clockwise position. Another DIY mistake, and I'm guilty of this also in the past, is using a Phillips head screwdriver to tighten down your terminals. You can see the most thing that you see here is a Phillips, pattern. So obviously you're gonna end up using a Phillips head screwdriver. I'm using my Klein tool, by the way. This is an insulated screwdriver. If you go and tighten this down, it will tighten. It will tighten really, really well. But as you can see, you can only go as much, they'll start to slip. What's special about the screwdriver is actually you can flip it and it'll go straight to the flat head. Now doing the flat head will make it go, there you go, it turns a little bit more because it covers more ground. That's not gonna tighten it enough. So what you can use, what's great about this insulated screwdriver is it has interchangeable pieces. This one you can use a #1 Robertson end. Now the Robertson end is pretty much just like a square tip, and it fits perfectly onto that terminal. This is a #1 Robertson that you can use, and you can tighten that a little bit more. See that turn? But the greatest option to tighten this is using a combination screwdriver. As you can see right there, it's kind of like a combination of your flathead and the Robertson all put in one. Okay, so this is a #1 combination. This was a #1 Robertson head. It sits perfectly on there, right there, and it has the ultimate fitting for, you can just give it that nice turn, that final turn right there to finish off the tightness of your connection. Now this one is by Klein Tools as well. These tools right here, I'll leave the link on the description down below if you're interested on this one. Another DIY mistake is never mix up your gold versus the silver. I know this is an easy one, but you definitely want to make sure that you are putting the right colored wire per each one. Now your hot is your black, the neutral is white. Don't put the white onto the gold, and don't put the gold onto the silver. It also says on the back, hot wire gold. You look at the back, it says white wire for the silver. Look into the commercial version, same thing. You have gold for your hot, silver for your neutral. Another common DIY mistake is, let's say that you ended up tightening down everything. Now you have your neutral, your hot wire, and your ground wire all tightened up. Now I'll let you look at it first and let me know in the comment section below what you think it is before I mention it. And if you said that the loose terminals right there, you're absolutely right. Before you go and you push this into your J-box, make sure that all the unused terminals are tightened down. Notice how they fit just like a glove and they don't slip, as if you're gonna use like a flathead. Those slip. Even the Phillips screwdriver slip. This one, they don't slip at all, and you can actually use this with one hand if you try to. Another common DIY mistake when wiring outlets is putting too many wires on a terminal. Now this is a little bit overkill. I did this intentionally to show you that this is a big no-no, and come to think of it, I kid you not, I came across a few switches and outlets that actually have doubles that look like this, and I was shocked on how it was wired like that. Now this is definitely a big no-no. This definitely goes against the NEC code of having one wire per terminal. The issue with this one is that if you try tightening this top wire that's sandwiched in here, one will definitely come out of the terminal, and this will eventually start to slip. It's gonna start to slide pretty much. Now you have a loose conductor that could possibly touch other, terminals or other wires, and could possibly cause a spark and definitely cause a fire for that. So definitely a big no-no. So if you want to wire multiple wires onto an outlet, this is not the way to do it. What you want to do is you want to start pigtailing. So take one of your wires, and if you want to go and connect power onto this, just pigtail it. I like to use these Wagos 221s. They're very easy to use, very DIY friendly. You just kind of insert it through the port. If you look at the back right there, make sure that the top is touching the top portion of the Wago and no wire visible on the bottom. Just close that, and now take your new wire and insert it through the next terminal and close it in. And if this outlet fails, the rest of the outlets onto the series will not get affected because this was damaged. Another way you can do it as well is you can definitely use your wire nuts. These are the winged wire nuts, and you can use this to tighten it down. The same thing as using the Wagos 221s. Now, if you're interested on the Wago 221s, I love using these. I use the Wago 221s very often onto this channel. There's nothing wrong with using the wire nuts, but if you're interested on these, especially these Wago 221s, they come in 2, 3, even 5. I'll leave the link on the description down below and grab yourself some of these. These are definitely a DIYer's best friends for electrical, okay? So all these stuff, I'll leave the link on the description down below. So another common DIY mistake is reusing wire nuts. Spiral mechanism right there. And this works through compression. So if you go and tighten this down, that spring inside expands, and over time it develops a memory of its expansion. So when you take it off and you put this back onto the new, that same compression that was used on the initial, it's not going to be the same compression amount when you start reusing this again. Not like if you use the Wago 221s. These will definitely allow you to reuse it. Don't reuse the old one, just use a brand new wire nut or wing nut. So these aren't all the issues when wiring outlets, so I'll come out actually with a part 2 video on this to show you more of the common DIY mistakes when wiring outlets or receptacles. Friends, if you found this video super helpful, I will greatly appreciate it if you press that like, subscribe, and notification bell so you can always be in tune on videos just like these. So again, friends, I'll see you on the next video.